joining them. We are
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Olga Shishra Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Verse 19, and the chapter is entitled The Birth of Emperor Parikshit. We will start with the invocation prayers and we will go straight into the verse. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Haribol, Haribol. Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jayam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parivacharya Stotra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parivacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nita Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Namo Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prastaya Bhutala Shrimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Chidatmane Shri Gauru Karana Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namani. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutala Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyate Shakarani. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I will chant the verse 3 times, as we mentioned, and we are discussing Canto 1, Chapter 12, verse 19. This chapter is entitled The Birth of Emperor Parikshit. We'll chant the verse 3 times, and I request your voice to please chant after me. Brahmana Uchu Partha Prajavita Shakshat Ikshvakur Iva Manava Brahmanya Satya Sandascha Ramo Dasharatir Brahmana Uchu Partha Prajavita Sakshat Ikshvakur Iva Manava Brahmanya Satya Sandascha Ramo Dasharatir Yata Brahmana Uchu Partha Prajavita Sakshat Ikshvakur Iva Manava Brahmanya Satya Sandascha Ramo Dasharatir Yata. So glad to see Mother Gita. Mother Gita would like to chant. Thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna. Brahmana Uchuhu Partha Prajavita Sakshat Ikshvakur Iva Manavaha Brahmanya Satya Sandascha Ramo Dasharathir.
Thank you, Mother. Anyone else? Dear Krishna, do you want to go ahead?
Hare Krishna Mother. Brahmana Uchuhu Partha Prajavitaha Sakshat Ishvakur Iva Manavaha Brahmanaya Satya Sandhascha Ramo Dasharathir Yatha.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to try? Okay, we'll do the word-for-word translation. Brahmana, the good Brahmanas, Uchu said, Partha, O son of Pritha, Kunti, Praja, those who are born, Avita, maintainer, Sakshat, directly, Ikshvaku, Iva, exactly like King Ishvaku, Manava, son of Manu, Brahmanya, followers and respectfully to the Brahmanas. Satya Sandaha, truthful by promise. Cha, also. Rama, the personality of Godhead Rama. Dasharati, the son of Maharaj Dasharath. Yata, like him. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. The learned Brahmana said, O son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ishvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born. And as for following the Brahminical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Rama, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Dasharath. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Praja means the living being who has taken his birth in the material world. Actually, the living being has no birth and no death, but because of his separation from the service of the Lord and due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he's offered a suitable body to satisfy his material desires. In doing so, one becomes conditioned by the laws of material nature, and the material body is changed in terms of his own work. The living entity thus migrates from one body to another in 8,400,000 species of life. But due to his being a part and parcel of the Lord, he not only is maintained with all the necessaries of life by the Lord, but also is protected by the Lord and his representatives, the saintly kings. These saintly kings give protection to all the prajas, the living beings, to live and to fulfill their terms of imprisonment. Maharaj Parikshit was actually an ideal saintly king because while touring his kingdom, he happened to see that a poor cow was about to be killed by the personified Kali, whom he at once took to task as a murderer. This means that even the animals were given protection by the saintly administrators, not from any sentimental point of view, but because those who have taken their birth in the material world have the right to live. All the saintly kings, beginning from the king of the sun globe down to the king of the earth, are so inclined by the influence of the Vedic literatures. The Vedic literatures are taught in higher planets also, as there's reference in the Bhagavad Gita 4:1 about the teachings to the sun god Vivaswan by the Lord. And such lessons are transferred by disciplic succession, as it was done by the sun god to his son Manu, and from Manu to Maharaj Ishvaku. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. And the Manu referred to herein is the seventh Manu, who is one of the Prajapatis, those who create progeny. And he is the son of the sun god. He's known as Vaivasvata Manu. He had 10 sons, and Maharaj Ikshvaku is one of them. Maharaj Ikshvaku also learned Bhakti Yoga as taught in the Bhagavad Gita from his father Manu, who got it from his father, the sun god. Later on, the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita came down by disciplic succession from Maharaj Ikshvaku. But in course of time, the chain was broken by unscrupulous persons, and therefore it again had to be taught to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So all the Vedic literatures are current from the very beginning of creation of the material world, and thus the Vedic literatures are known as Apaurusheva, not made by man. The Vedic knowledge was spoken by the Lord and first heard by Brahma, the first created living being within the universe. Maharaj Ikshvaku, one of the sons of Vaivasvata Manu, he had 100 sons. He prohibited meat eating. His son Sasada became the next king after his death. Manu, the Manu mentioned in this verse as the father of Ikshvaku, is the seventh Manu of the name Vaivasvata Manu, the son of sun god Vivaswan, to whom Lord Krishna instructed the teachings of Bhagavad Gita prior to his teaching them to Arjuna. Mankind is the descendant of Manu. This Vaivasvata Manu had 10 sons named Ikshvaku, Nabhaga, Drishta, Saryati, Narishyanta, Nabhaga, Dishta, Karusha, Prishadra, and Vasuman. The Lord's incarnation, Matsya, the gigantic fish, was invented during the beginning of Vaivasvata Manu's reign. He learned the principles of Bhagavad Gita from his father, Vivaswan, the sun god, and he re-instructed the same to his son, Maharaj Ishvaku. In the beginning of Treta Yuga, the sun god instructed devotional service to Manu, and Manu in his turn instructed it to Ishvaku for the welfare of the whole human society. Lord Ram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, incarnated himself as Sri Ram, accepting the sonhood of his pure devotee, Maharaj Dashrath, the king of Ayodhya. Lord Ram descended along with his plenary portions, and all of them appeared as his younger brothers. In the month of Chaitra, on the 9th day of the growing moon in Treta Yuga, the Lord appeared as usual to establish the principles of religion and to annihilate the disturbing elements. When he was just a young boy, he helped the great sage Vishwamitra by killing Subahu and striking Maricha, the two demons who were disturbing the sages in their daily discharge of duties. The Brahmana and Kshatriyas are meant to cooperate for the welfare of the mass of people. The Brahmana sages endeavor to enlighten the people by perfect knowledge, and the Kshatriyas are meant for their protection. Lord Ramachandra is the ideal king for maintaining and protecting the highest culture of humanity, known as Brahmanya Dharma. The Lord is specifically the protector of the cows and the Brahmanas, and hence he enhances the prosperity of the world. He rewarded the administrative demigods by effective weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra. He was present in the bow sacrifice of King Janaka, and by breaking the invincible bow of Shiva, he married Sita Devi, the daughter of Maharaj Janaka. After his marriage, he accepted exile in the forest for 14 years by the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharath. To help the administration of the demigods, he killed 14,000 demons. And by the intrigues of the demons, his wife Sita Devi was kidnapped by Ravan. He made friendship with Sugriv, who was helped by the Lord to kill Vali, brother of Sugriv. By the help of Lord Ram, Sugriv became the king of the Vanaras, the race of gorillas. The Lord built a floating bridge of stones on the Indian Ocean and reached Lanka, the kingdom of Ravan, who had kidnapped Sita. Later on, Ravan was killed by him, and Ravan's brother Vibhishan was installed on the throne of Lanka. Vibhishan was one of the brothers of Ravan, a demon, but Lord Ram made him immortal by his blessings. On the expiry of 14 years, after settling the affairs at Lanka, the Lord came back to his kingdom, Ayodhya, by Flower Plain. He instructed his brother Shatrughna to attack Lavanashura, who reigned at Mathura, and the demon was killed. He performed 10 Ashwamedha sacrifices, and later on he disappeared while taking a bath in Sarayu River. The great epic Ramayana is the history of Lord Ram's activities in the world, and the authoritative Ramayana was written by the great poet Valmiki. Om Maganati Mirandyasa Gana Gana Shalakaya Chakshur Onmilitamena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The verse again. The learned Brahmana said, O son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ishvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who were born, and as for following the Brahminical principles, Maharaj, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Ram, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Dasharath. As I was reading this very long, instructive purport by Srila Prabhupada, 3 things that came to my mind that I would like to share with you that I repeatedly noticed Srila Prabhupada mentioning in this verse. The first is giving protection to all living beings. Srila Prabhupada, a few times mentioned the word giving protection, giving protection, giving protection to all living beings, then I started to wonder, I started to think, what does that actually mean, giving protection to all living beings? Because we live in the age right now where we don't hear of that anymore, and especially when Srila Prabhupada mentioned that in order to, in order to give protection to all living beings, we have to have a very good administration. And also he mentioned, and he repeatedly mentioned it in this verse, in the purport, how the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas work so well together, right? The learned scholar and the administrators. The Brahmanas are known as the learned scholars, the sages, and the Kshatriyas are the administrative department, the managers, the executive directors, as they call them. They work so nicely together, and by them working so nicely together, they are able to care for the welfare of the people. And because they're able to care for the welfare of the people, they are giving protection to all the living beings. And Srila Prabhupada said that the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas are meant to cooperate. And when I read this word, cooperate, the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas are meant to come together to cooperate for the welfare of the mass of people. The first thing that came to my mind was Srila Prabhupada's instructions to his disciples. And he has said it not once, but twice, but a few times, if I'm not mistaken, where Srila Prabhupada said, your love for me will be shown by how we cooperate with one another. Your love for me will be shown by how we cooperate with one another. And then the next question can be, well, do I have to agree with everything that I've been told to cooperate with? Well, let's take an example of a mother and father and, a family, okay, with parents and children. There's never a situation where the children will agree with everything that the parent says, and especially as they get older into the teenage years, right? As they start growing up and they start developing their own identity, their own characteristics, their own personality. It's very difficult to get young people to want to agree with the parents. But at the same time, if we see that when children don't always meet halfway, lack of a better word, do not cooperate with the parents, something or the other happens where the child has to learn life the hard way. And sometimes the parents have to meet the children halfway to allow them to develop their personality and characteristics with some certain, what's the word, lack of a better word, boundaries, so that there's care and protection, right? So it's a two-way street between the parent and the child. It's not that it can't always be where the parent says, I say so, you do. And the child says, okay, but he want me to cooperate. Because if you think of the word cooperate, the word operate and the co means coming together. It is not commanding. It is not, instructing. It is not giving orders. It's coming together. The word cooperate means coming together, working together, communicating together, trying to work things out. And it's not every time that everything is going to work out beautifully. There will be some instances where there will be some hiccups, but that's how we learn, right? That's how we learn, and that's how we kind of make mistakes, and that's how we learn from the mistakes, but we cooperate. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas are meant to cooperate. So the Brahmanas, the learned scholars, and the administrative department, they come together to cooperate for the welfare of the mass of people, to give them protection. And in today's day and age, that's unheard of, unseen, because unfortunately, we are living in a yuga of corrupted leadership. But does that mean that we still cannot work with one another in a small nucleus, in a small frame, in a small scale? Within our community, it's possible, because Srila Prabhupada says, your love for me will be shown by how we cooperate with one another. So it is possible that within our own movement, within our own vicinity, our own community, we can still create that mood of cooperation between the Brahmanas and the administrators. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1:12-14, which we covered last week, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that to give protection to all living entities, one must learn the science of Krishna. Amazing point. To give protection to all living entities, one must learn the science of Krishna. And he goes on to say, by knowing the science of Krishna, one must become the most perfect man in the world. And I, for one, am nowhere close to perfection. I'm literally probably the back. But is it possible to get to that stage? Well, I think it is. I hope it is. So let's see what your Prabhupada says. He says that, and unless one has knowledge in the science, all qualifications of the doctorates and the diplomas and the emeritus, acquired by academic education are useless, because those material education only applies to the material world. It doesn't apply to the spiritual world, because the material education is not going to teach us the science of Krishna. The material education is going to teach us how we can be the Lord of Lords and the controller of the controllers, pretty much. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, he knew the science of Krishna very well. And we have heard this from Srila Prabhupada's purports over and over again, how Maharaj Yudhishthira was considered to be a pure devotee of the Lord. He knew the science of Krishna very well, for it is stated that, and how did he know the science of Krishna? Well, this is the secret here. One of Srila Prabhupada's purports that I was reading up last night, Srila Prabhupada said, Maharaj Yudhishthira knew the science of Krishna. How? And the secret here is by continuous cultivation of the science through continuous devotional service to Lord Krishna. That is the secret. So I will go back and repeat what Srila Prabhupada said. Maharaj Yudhishthira knew the science of Krishna very well because of continuous cultivation of the science by performing continuous devotional service to Lord Krishna. And because of that, he acquired the qualification of administering the state of Hastinapur. So that's the secret, devotional service. And Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada goes on to say, therefore, a king like Maharaj Yudhishthira, who was the personality of goodness, wanted everyone under his administration to become a devotee of the Lord. Now, that is a proper, clean leadership. When the leadership is Krishna conscious, as a devotee of the Lord, he would naturally want everyone in his kingdom to be a devotee of the Lord and to give protection. Of course, we don't have that in today's age, unfortunately. But we're very, very blessed that in all ISKCON temples, we have so many managers, so many leaders, so many temple presidents where our duty amongst managing and running the temple and running festivals and, taking care of the accounts and fundraising and, what have you, one of the key duty of a leader in ISKCON as a temple president or in any position is to make sure that the temple devotees are seriously developing Krishna consciousness. Seriously developing Krishna consciousness. One thought that's coming to my mind is Srila Prabhupada told his disciples, and I'm trying to paraphrase him, so forgive me if I'm not quoting it perfectly, but I'm paraphrasing what Srila Prabhupada said. As Srila Prabhupada said, my Guru Maharaj is pushing me and I'm pushing you. And therefore you push others. So that is the mood of the Parampara system, the disciplic succession. The spiritual master is pushing the devotee, the leader, and the leader is pushing everyone else. That is the proper leadership in Krishna consciousness. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, being a devotee of the Lord, of course, wanted everyone under his administration, in his zone, lack of a better word, in his congregation or community, wants everyone to become a devotee of the Lord and be freed from the repeated birth and death, the material existence. So a proper leader is one who gives leadership, who gives protection to all living entities and help them to become devotees of the Lord. Unfortunately, in today's world, we cannot expect that, because in today's, leaders in many countries, probably in all countries all over the world, the last thing on their list is, let me make the citizens of my country spiritual. No, that is not on their list. And I'm pretty sure if we ask any of the leaders, they will say, do I have time for that? But it's not. But Srila Prabhupada has built a house where the whole world can live in. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So it is on us individuals to help others to become devotees of the Lord. We got to push them. Srila Prabhupada says, my Guru Maharaj is pushing me, I'm pushing you, so you push others. We got to be pushing. I remember a small snippet from His Grace Krata Prabhu's class, and I really liked how he titled the class, The Urgency of Krishna Consciousness. Urgency. Only the senior, most elevated devotees of Srila Prabhupada will understand the term urgency. We are still enjoying somehow, this whole material existence, trying to make ends meet. But these pure devotees of the Lord, they understand the word urgency. Are we urgent enough in our Krishna consciousness to really become devotees of the Lord? So here, Maharaj Yudhishthira was constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, and at the same time, protecting the citizens of his kingdom, and at the same time, making sure that they are comfortable. And on top of them, making sure that they are becoming devotees of the Lord. And how is he doing that? That is the second point that I caught, that I realized from this verse, is he did that by instructing devotional service, teaching bhakti yoga. Srila Prabhupada gave the secret that I mentioned just now, right? Maharaj Yudhishthira learned the science of Krishna. And how did he learn the science of Krishna? By continuous devotional service to the Lord. By continuous devotional service to the Lord, he learned the science of Krishna. And therefore, he became a perfect leader. And becoming a perfect leader, because he was a perfect leader, he taught his citizens and instructed them on devotional service. So a good leader, like Maharaj Parikshit, knew very well how to protect the citizens. Not only did he give protection by giving them all the comfort, like I was reading in one of Srila Prabhupada's translation, one of his purports last week, where Srila Prabhupada said, during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, none of the citizens experienced the three miseries. Can you imagine that? None of the citizens experienced the three miseries of material life, of material conditioning, none. He was such a pure pure leader, because he was continuously engaged in devotional service. Because he was continuously engaged in devotional service, he protected his citizens. He worked with the Brahmanas in cooperation to give protection to the living beings. And at the same time, he guided and instructed his citizens on devotional service and guiding them to also become devotees of the Lord. He was always teaching and instructing them the science of devotional service. And this brings me to a very good point, how important it is for devotees to get trained and educated. Training and education. The first purport of I want to Google that quickly. The first purpose of the seven purpose of ISKCON's mission is I'm just going to read it out rather than me paraphrase it, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. This is the training and the educating. So ISKCON is very, very much into training and educating devotees. In ISKCON, we have a program called Bhakta program, and it's for both men and women. Just because the term Bhakta refers to men, it doesn't mean it's only for men. It's for both men and women. We're not the body. So in ISKCON, we have a program called the Bhakta program, which teaches the students the foundation of Krishna consciousness, both practically and theory. In our temple in ISKCON Harrisburg, we do have a similar program. We do have spiritual mentorship. And it's like the Bhakta program. We call it the Bhakti Engagement program, where we train the devotees on the foundation of Krishna consciousness, both practical and theory. Rising early, chanting your rounds, attending temple programs, learning the prayers, how to perform devotional service, the importance of cleanliness, Vaishnava etiquette, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, devotee association, the crux the foundation of Krishna consciousness. In the old days, the Bhakta program was very rigorous, I have to say, very intense, because those of us that lived in the temple, it was a daily process. My husband and I had the good fortune of being temple devotees, Grihastha temple devotees, living on the Dham in Gitanagari for about 10-12 years. And after that we moved off the property, but we had a house right outside of the vicinity of Gitanagari. There we spent another 10 years, so we were there for like 21 years. But we were very fortunate to have to be trained under very senior Prabhupada disciples and senior God sisters and brothers of mine that trained us in the real Bhakta program. We had to attend the morning program, we had to rise early, we had to chant, we had to do temple service, we had to learn how to cook, we had to learn the different pranams and the bhajans, how to perform devotional service, how to clean, Vaishnava etiquette. We had the drill. So it's very important that we get instructed in devotional service. That is exactly what Maharaj Yudhishthira did. He was an excellent leader because he taught his citizens the science of devotional service. And why, actually, why is one question, but the purpose of also learning and receiving the instructions of devotional service, it will help us to begin to learn the Brahminical principles and qualities, which is the third point that I got from this verse, where Srila Prabhupada said in the translation, right? And as for following the Brahminical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Ram, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaj Datasharath. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, not only was he a pure devotee of the Lord, and not only did he learn the science of Krishna by continuous engagement of devotional service, but he also taught and instructed the citizens of his kingdom the science of Krishna, the science of devotional service, so that they can begin to develop Brahminical principles. That's what Srila Prabhupada said in the translation. So, and what are the Brahminical principles? Well, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 42, it's listed: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, religiousness. In other purports, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned simplicity and straightforwardness. He also mentioned truthfulness. He also mentioned firm faith in other verses, referring that to Brahminical qualities. Now, this sounds like a very tall order to me too. Is it possible? I believe it is. I want to have the firm faith that it is. And how is it possible? Only by the mercy of our spiritual master. Only by the mercy of the devotees. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, who is the original spiritual master. It is possible if we stick with the process. If we accept instructions, if we accept teaching, just like we know when we were in school, right? When we were in school, our teachers will say, no, 1 + 1 is 2, it's not 3. And you're saying, no, but it's 3. No, it's 2. You see, if you take one, you put them together, it's 2. We receive instructions, we receive correction, we receive guidance. If we wholeheartedly, and I think this is something that I had to work on years ago, and I continue to work on, is if we wholeheartedly accept that I want to be a devotee of the Lord. I want to receive instructions in devotional service. I want to be guided in the proper way of performing devotional service. I would want to develop these principles and qualities. Surrender ourselves to a senior devotee to receive instructions, or to a spiritual master, and they will guide us on that process to develop these principles. Srila Prabhupada said, and I want to read this, it's such a beautiful quote by Srila Prabhupada, and he said that the American boys who have simply been trained as Sudras are not at all fit to fight in the battle. Therefore, when they are called to join the military, they refuse because they do not have the Kshatriya spirit. This is a cause of great dissatisfaction in the society. That the boys do not have the Kshatriya spirit does not mean that they are trained in Brahminical qualities. They are trained as Sudras, And thus in frustration, they are becoming hippies. However, now this is really powerful. However, as soon as they entered the Krishna consciousness movement, started in America, they are trained to meet the Brahminical qualifications, even though they have fallen to the lowest conditions as Sudras. In other words, since Krishna consciousness movement is open for everyone, people in general can attain the Brahminical qualifications. This is quoting Srila Prabhupada verbatim. So is it possible for us to attain the Brahminical qualification? Srila Prabhupada said it's possible by the process of Krishna consciousness, by the process of performing continuous devotional service, just like how Maharaj Yudhisthira has learned the science of Krishna, and how by performing continuous devotional service. And from that, because he has learned the science of Krishna, he is teaching and instructing the science of Bhakti Yoga, the science of devotional service to the citizens of his kingdom, so that they can also attain the Brahminical qualities. So the mercy is there. The mercy is there. It's waiting for us to step up our game, to learn the teachings and instructions of Bhakti Yoga, to learn the science of devotional service. It is a science. I remember, if you think of a very basic devotional service, right? Like cooking, for example. Cooking is, cooking for the Lord and his devotees is a science. But one might say, what is the science in devotional service? Just go to the kitchen, and just cook. No, there's a science if you think about it. Take a bath, be clean, dress, tie up our hair. While we're cooking, don't taste while we're cooking. That was a very difficult thing for me to learn, actually, because, we got to add the salt, right? Don't taste while cooking, because when after cooking, you offer it to the Lord. Let him be the first to taste it, and then you eat the remnants. That's a science. That's a science in cooking. So there is a science of devotional service. And how can we learn the science of devotional service? By continually performing devotional service under the instructions and guidance of our senior devotees and our spiritual master. And the more we continuous, see, the key word here is continuous, which means uninterrupted, unmotivated, continuous. And the more we are engaged in continuous devotional service, Srila Prabhupada confirmed that we can attain the Brahminical qualities. So the mercy is there waiting for us. The mercy is there. It's just up to us if we want to step up the game. It's up to us if are we willing to receive instructions and guidance and correction and constructive feedback from our seniors and from our spiritual master. Are we ready to listen and surrender to our seniors and to the spiritual master so that we can become better devotees, perform our services nicely, and gradually develop Brahminical qualities? So this was my realization, my thoughts, my reflection from this verse. Very, very powerful verse. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts and my realizations and quotes by Srila Prabhupada. If there are any questions, any comments and reflections, please do unmute yourself, or you can just jump right in. And takeaway, I would love to hear a takeaway from all of you. Anyone, please, would love to hear a takeaway, because I also learn and benefit from your takeaway. We are all learning together in cooperation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances.
Accept
I
mine,
was to
Mother.
Srila
August
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada. So nice to hear your voice, Mother.
So good to be back.
Mother,
I am
actually, your
still in
voice sounds
Vrindavan.
so much stronger.
It does?
Yeah.
It's the effect of Vrindavan.
I was going to say the same thing. Your voice sounds stronger. I was like, wow.
Yes, I'm still in Vrindavan till Radha Ashtami, and very, very nice class. You know, a lot of things to think about. And when you were talking about Brahmanical qualities, that we need to develop them if we still haven't, and I started thinking, how is that possible? And then a thought occurred to me that if we associate with those who demonstrate such qualities, then their qualities will rub off on us, and then we can hope to get some of them. Thank you.
Amazing point, Mother. Amazing point. Thank you for addressing that. Thank you for sharing it. Yes. And I was remembering somewhere I read, and I think it must be one of Srila Prabhupada's transcription lectures, where Srila Prabhupada said that even when someone comes to the temple and they clean the floor, we see the floor so clean or the bathroom so clean, we're like, whoa, who cleaned this bathroom? I want to clean this like this. So let me find that devotee so that I can learn from him and his qualities can rub off on me. Yes, Mother, excellent point. Is if we want to develop those Brahminical qualities, we want to hang out with those who have that and get their mercy. Yes, very nice point, Mother. Thank you so much for addressing that. Thank you. Any other takeaways from devotees? Any other thoughts, reflection that you would like to share with us? Please, would love to hear so that I can just, what Mother Geeta mentioned, it was such a good reminder for me. Reminding my crazy mind, yes, the devotee association and being with devotees who have those qualities will help us develop those qualities. A little bit will rub off on us. Amazing point. Any points from devotees? Any thoughts, any reflections, any takeaways? And if there isn't, tomorrow is Radhastami, a very, very beautiful day. It's the birthday of the Mother of Devotion. And it's only by the mercy of Radharani can we get help to step up our game, to learn the teachings and instructions of devotional service, and to ask her to help us to remove whatever obstacles that's in our way from developing those qualities and obstructing us from devotional service or obstructing us from engaging more in service. So please, we welcome devotees to our temple tomorrow morning. It's going to be a morning program, thankfully, because it's a weekend. So we can afford to have a morning program on a weekend rather than the evening, which is rightfully so. So please do join us. And another reminder is this evening we have our Bhagavad Gita circle reading program, continuing on chapter 15, which is entitled The Yoga of the Supreme. So please do join us. If there are no questions or comments, thank you all for allowing me to share a little bit of my reflections and realization from this really powerful verse. Until then, Vanchakraptibhyascha Kripasindhaveva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother Geeta.